Are you good to do your New Year's betting
Yeah,
resolutions?
let's do it here.
Do it.
First and foremost, I mean, this is something that seems very obvious, but it's good to just kind of get back to the basics and make sure that you sometimes remind yourself to continue betting on only the things in which I'm willing to put in the time. And, you know, I'm willing to put in the time researching golf. I'm willing to put in the time researching the NFL draft. I'm willing to put in the time to research NFL. I haven't over the last couple of years as much for college football. I don't at all for NHL. I don't at all for soccer. I don't at all for some of these other things. And, you know, I've just got to make sure to not stray and not get out of my lane, get out of my zone here. And I think, you know, we do a fairly good job of that, but it's one of those things where you make it bulletin board material, you put it on there, you write it down, you make sure that you kind of stay the course. And so wanted to start off with that one for sure. Secondly, I want to shift some of my bankroll into golf and MMA in 2022. I probably put 80% of maybe 75% a year into NFL and then 25% in basically the rest of the stuff. And so I'm going to be a little bit more heavy on these other sports than I am in the NFL this year, because I do think that there are some advantages to be had. I do think that there are some edges to be had. They are at least some markets as well that I'm interested in, that I feel that I'm, you know, at least as we sit right now. We'll talk a little bit later in 2022, but I feel pretty good about the fact that I'll put in the time doing the research and things like that. And so I do want to shift some of the bankroll there into those additional sports in 2022. Third, I want to take advantage of the market offerings in Arizona. It's
That's a good one.
Pretty short drive from here over to Arizona, and this kind of dovetails into my fourth one here in just a second, but take advantage of the market offerings in Arizona. I mean, Arizona has 10 plus sports books that are live right now that are all remote, that you can sign up remotely, you can fund remotely. We literally just have to drive across the border and be geo-fenced inside the state of Arizona. You don't have to go to a city, you don't have to go spend the night, none of that stuff. And so just being able to cross over the border and taking advantage of some of these markets that are available over there, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about here on the program is awesome markets that you guys have available to you that we don't have available to us here. And so a lot of these times when we say, man, I'd really love to bet that, in theory, I could. I just got to get my lazy butt in the car and drive 45 minutes to the border at Arizona, and I could go bet this stuff.
Like Kevin Love, over 17.5 points tonight.
Yeah, so I'm going to take advantage of that for sure, specifically for the NFL draft this year, for sure. I'm going to make that drive down there and take advantage of some of the markets that are available down there for it.
I'm interested to see how many Wednesday night trips Matt and I make during the golf season this year. Because I'm going to say over under 3.5. Gil,
we could just pop out of the studio. Yeah. We'll take off, and then we'll swing it on back.
Just a beautiful Wednesday evening in Arizona,
and do that. My fourth one: advocate even harder for Nevada to accept that things are changing in sports betting.
Love it.
This kind of goes hand in hand with my third one, because the reason I have to drive to Arizona to take advantage of those markets is because they're not available here, and for whatever reason, the sports books are unwilling to adapt to what is inevitable. And that's the thing. You can sit there and you can say, well, I don't like that. Well, that's fine and all, but everybody else does. And that's not, so right. For you to try to dictate what everybody else likes doesn't seem like the soundest business strategy moving forward. It's an ever-changing market here. It's an ever-changing idea of what a typical sports bettor is. Yes. When it was only Nevada, sure, if you say like, hey, man, I don't want to put these up because only sharp people are betting these things and I don't want to, yada, okay, whatever. At least I could listen to your argument then at that point. But we've gotten to the point now, Gil, the average sports bettor is a $25 sports bettor.
Yes.
And so for people to go, we're not going to put that up. What would the limit be anyway? $300? That's 6 times. That's 10 times what a normal sports bettor bets on a bet anyway. And so for us to like just completely ignore this, it's massively expanding segment of this industry is crazy. And Nevada is what used to be the sports betting capital of the world. It's not that it's faded, it's gone. It's not fading, it's gone. It is elsewhere. It is everywhere else in the country, and it's no longer Nevada. And I want it to be Nevada. I live here. I love living here. I love this city. I love everything about this place. But we're behind the times, and people have got to understand that it's just changing. And whether you want it to or not, it's going to happen regardless. So you might as well get with it. And then my last one here, I want to take more of y'all's money here in 2022. I'm going to
more than zero. You mean?
Listen. I only won one of the doggone first touchdown, but I want to win at least more than one of those. I'm going to win the one and done for the golf. We're going to figure out other cool.
Tasted so good.
Listen,
man.
we're going to figure out other cool ways that we can get these bets going around here, and I'm going to take more of y'all's money in 2022.
First touchdowns aren't working out very well for him either.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Matt, yours and mine are very, very simpatico in many ways. My New Year's betting resolutions 2022, bet even more tennis. Continue to trust the numbers in tennis. And then bet more golf. It's fun every night seeing Matt and Kelley do well. I might want to get in on that. See if I can apply the same principles that I do in tennis to the sport of golf. Bet even less basketball. This is one that I had last year. The less basketball that I bet, the better off I am. But that's really kind of what you were saying, which is bet the sports that work for you. Don't try to bet other sports that aren't working out. You don't have to be an expert in everything. Be an expert in what resonates and what makes sense to you and what results in winning betting, whether that's in-game, whether that's pre-flop, whether it's certain sports over others. And then I just worded what you just passionately talked about, Matt. And by the way, I love that your voice came back for that passionate rant. Continue to challenge the too cool for school betting blowhards. And what I mean by that is very much what Matt was saying. I don't need to belabor it anymore, which is we do have this sense of, by some in this state, a bit of a superiority complex to things. And I just want to say that there are other ways to do sports betting. And if most people in this country prefer it a different way, that's not for you to throw stones at it. Just a sort of general comment about some of the vibes we get from some people. People like to bet on all kinds of random things, and most people don't care that it's a very small amount of betting. So there are different ways to bet. All are okay. Kelley.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that you both hit on that's big for our show is, listen, if you're looking for a show where you're going to get 7 plays a night and things like that, that's not our show, right? We stick to what we bet well. We try to do even more of that than what we do, and that's what you're going to get is hopefully over a long term you're going to learn some things on this show and get some winning bets out of it as well. But we're not the show that tonight has 7 bull bets. It's just not how we're going to be. First off, on mine is just, don't forget how streaky NBA betting can be. Don't let a few losses put you on tilt. Stick to the process. That's really what I've been kind of telling myself recently. I had that heck of an NBA run. Had literally all it took was 2 losses before yesterday felt like I was about to start chasing on a couple things, and it's a long season. The losses will come, the wins are going to come. I got a really lucky push last night on that Grizzlies game, ended up landing right on 5. By the way, my first ever push on the history of this show. Like almost 500 bets tracked in the past year and a half. First ever push.
Wow.
So I think it's a lot of that. It can be very easy to get on tilt when you're used to betting, especially if you're on a hot streak. So starting to if you recognize that, you can get out of that funk early, get back to what you're focused on, been doing well at. Then golf last year started off great, kind of leveled off, I would say, towards the middle of the year, Matt, and then I kind of hit 1 or 2 outrights at the end of the year to kind of make it great again. But I think it's really the going back and restarting the whole process again for myself. It's the looking at what worked well early and track how we continue that throughout the season and keep reevaluating the models and what we're building at, what stats we're looking at, and everything. These golfers, how they're progressing through the season, just to continue build on a great 2021 in golf betting on this show, but keep working on that. And then, like you guys all summed up, sticking with what we're good at, right? 9-9. With college football bets this year, Gill, if this was like most years, it'd be like 40-40.
Yeah.
The percentage wouldn't change. All it changes is me giving less money to the sports books, right? Mm-hmm. So it's learning what you're good at, bet on that, stick to it, and continue winning money.
It's also what you were good at once upon a time in your betting life. Might be very different 5-10 years down the road. Mm-hmm. Baseball used to be my thing. I was 20-18 regular season baseball. That's it. I was like, I don't need to bet this anymore.
I used to bet more college football than anything.
Yeah.
And now it's like 2% of everything.
Yeah.